Imagine this scenario. You get to the game, you sit down in your seats right before puck drop, you watch as the ref throws down the puck to start the game, and all 5 players on both teams drop the gloves right away before the game even really starts. The crowd goes absolutely crazy. Everyone's so into the game. It's so energetic. You can feel the atmosphere just liven. The energy for the rest of the night has just been amplified. This exact scenario happened March 19th, 2012. New York Rangers versus the New Jersey Devil. So these two teams are rivals as they're so close together. They're in the same division and they play so many times a year. Now, let's take a step back. Imagine this scene if the fight didn't happen, if fighting was not allowed in the NHL. It's just not the same, right? The crowd's not as energetic, and they're just not into the game. This is why fighting needs to be kept in hockey. It increases attendance, it increases accountability for players, and it's a tradition that needs to be kept. First of all, fighting increases fan attendance and participation in games. An economic study of hockey showed that violence, especially fighting, increased attendance and attraction throughout the US and Canada, especially throughout the US, because it was still, in 2012, a growing sport that hadn't fully been developed yet. Now let's go back to my intro there for a second. Let's go back to the Rangers and Devils game. After this big fight, this whole on-ice brawl, for the next 5 home games for the Rangers, because that's where the game was played first, for the next 5 games, there was a sellout crowd. Entire stadium was sold out, fans were packed in there. And for the next year of games against the Rangers and Devils, it was sold out no matter where they played, whether it was New Jersey or New York. It was sellout crowds because everyone wanted to see if there was going to be another fight. Secondly, fighting keeps players accountable for their actions. Hockey is a quick sport, so the refs don't always see everything. A couple players may get away with a couple cheap shots during the game. So, fighting allows for players to stand up for each other if these cheap shots occur. Hockey players don't fight just for the sake of violence. They fight as a deterrent for hurting star players. A star forward of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Steven Stamkos, says, and I quote, "You have to police yourselves sometimes on the ice. When you see a fight now, it's a response. Someone didn't like something that was done on the ice. I think you need that. It's healthy." The commissioner for the NHL, Gary Bettman, says that fighting may prevent other injuries from occurring, as hockey's such a fast sport, like I said, and it's so intense and demanding that these fights kind of allow that intensity to build up, but not get overachieving. Finally, fighting in hockey is a tradition that shouldn't be taken out. It's allowed, specifically, hockey is allowed fighting in the rule book. It's an essential part of the game. In 2012, there was a survey of a bunch of NHL players, and 98% of those players said that they did not want fighting to be banned from the NHL. Fighting, there's an unwritten rule in hockey about fighting, and that's shown through this. There are less fights in the postseason than in the regular season because teams want to win. They don't want to be in the penalty box. They don't necessarily want to, crutch themselves because they want to win. And this shows that players adhered to this unwritten rule about fighting. So, in conclusion, fighting needs to be kept in the NHL for many reasons. It increases fan turnout and participation. It increases players' accountability for, actions that they do, sticking up for each other. And it's a tradition and an unwritten rule. And fighting isn't just about violence. It's not just there to be violent. Fighting is there so that players stick up for each other, so that they have each other's backs. Fighting honestly keeps the sport of hockey more safe than it causes any harm. It allows players to stand up for each other, like I said, and it lets them know that they really do have safety in the sport that they love. Thank you for your time.